Discord, Roseluck, A True Love by Switch Diablo. Like every morning, Roseluck went to her stand in town on the market to sell her flowers. But today she had a day off because she didn't feel so well lately. Since it was early spring and for the past few days she has felt a bit off. At first she thought maybe it was just she hasn't slept well, but it wasn't that cause. So she went to the hospital just for a regular checkup, and turns out she had the flu. And the doctor said you should stay in bed for the next couple of days, or perhaps a week, and take some medicine. Of course, she told us, my friends, that she won't be at the market selling her flowers. So one of her friends, Lyra, she had offered to take over the stand for a while. And of course, even Roseluck, they wouldn't accept that. But at first, after the consideration, she decided to let her do it. So for the next couple of days, Roseluck were still in bed, make sure she was keeping herself warm. But at the same time, Discord was walking around in town, just enjoying this sunny spring day with Fluttershy. Fluttershy was at the market to buy some animal food for her animal friends. At first, they were just talking about something ordinary, like what is going to happen this year, what the school will starting soon, and sort of things. But then they noticed that Lyra was standing at Roseluck's stand selling flowers. They were unaware that she was sick, so they asked her why was she doing there and not Roseluck. And Lyra explained to them, at least from what she knows, that Roseluck is having the flu and she had been asked to take over the stand only until she's better. Roseluck was one of Fluttershy's good friends, and she felt sorry for her. But after a while, Fluttershy felt also that at least she had some pony helping her with the stand, because that was her only part where she get the money from. Even Discord felt a bit heartbroken. From what he knows, that he is in love with Roseluck. He has been in love with her for about 3 years. But he hasn't told anybody, not even Fluttershy. Many ponies believe that Fluttershy and Discord were dating, but in secret. Even some of my friends believe that, like Applejack and Rarity. Twilight advised. She knew what the secret wasn't a secret, that they weren't dating. But they hadn't even heard about it. But one day after that, Discord and Fluttershy were at the market. Discord was at his home, just doing what he knew what to do. Spread a chaos in his world, or just reading some books that he got from Fluttershy. But there was just one thing that he actually thought the most. Roseluck. He wondered if he could do something to cheer her up, because he knows that when Fluttershy had the flu, she was so down all the time, with sneezing, coughing, and he wanted to do something special for her, but exactly what, he didn't know. So he went to Fluttershy's cottage just to ask her some questions, like if she had a friend who were sick from the flu or something, and that he felt down, how would she cheer her friend up? Fluttershy didn't suspect much about this question, because since Fluttershy had helped many of her friends, even her younger brother Zephyr Breeze, when he was sick in the flu when he was younger. So she didn't suspect anything without the question. And Fluttershy told him that it depends from what friend to friend, what they like and what they don't like. when she took care of Applejack when she had the flu, she made some apple pies for her or apple muffins. When Twilight was sick from the flu, she made her to listen to stories from Daring Do. But if this pony then liked something with like flowers or something, well, let's say yes, for can I do that? Fluttershy didn't know exactly what to do first, but she was thinking. Since most of her friends either liked reading, animals, or is it music, because she knows from Octavia. When Vinyl was sick, she played some music for her to cheer her up. So then she thought maybe music or something with flowers could cheer her up. But it also depended, first of all, if the pony was allergic to flowers, which makes sense to Discord. So Discord then decided maybe not flowers could cheer her up. So in secret, he went back home and he thought by himself, what kind of flower should I give Roseluck? And he thought and thought and thinking. It was like he was thinking, and he's almost like his head was smoking from a lot of thinking. But then he snapped his fingers and he said, "That's it, roses." Because of her name, Roseluck. So Discord decided to make some roses appear, and middle of the day or early morning, he actually went to her home, left a box with some chocolate and some roses, and knocked on the door and disappeared. But he can actually saw her open the door from his small place where he was hiding. She looked at the card, looked at the flowers, and looked around to see if there was any pony there, like the male pony or something. She saw there was a card in one among the roses. She read, "Keep you well safe. Get well soon. Sigrid Amaya." She had no idea who they could have been. And a few days later, she was actually back to health. And every time she was outside, she looked around to see if this Sigrid Amaya was any close by she could, but nothing. She even asked some of her friends who thought maybe this was a prank or something, but none of her friends could even say why would that gonna be a bad prank. I mean, who would prank her like that? Of course, they would probably thought maybe Rainbow Dash. They asked her, but she immediately said no. She hasn't even been in town for a few days. In fact, she has been at the Wonderbolt Academy training with the other reserves and the other Wonderbolts, so she could have not been that. So they asked Spike and Pinky, because they know that Pinky could have been doing some pranks as well, but it turns out she hasn't been doing that either, because she was busy with Sugarwood Corner, and Spike otherwise had also been asked. But he is so busy with Twilight, the castle, and the school before it starts, so he has no time to do any kind of pranks. So Roseluck had no idea who the secret admirer could have been. So for the next couple of days, she waits to see if the secret admirer would show up and give her some other gift or something. But she was right. Only a few days later, a knock on the door, and then she opens, but still nothing. No pony. But this time, only a rose with a card. To Roseluck, your secret admirer. But this time, this card had made like a D on the card. At first, she thought maybe that was some writing mistake, so she didn't think about it much. So, and that continued. The same D appeared on either the card or the box with some gifts she had. But at first, she just brushed it off as some sort of type mistake or writing skill. But every time, the same D appeared on the card or the box of small things she got. And she wonders, could this have been the name, or at least the first letter of the name of the pony who gives her the gifts? And she starts thinking, how many ponies in town starts with a D? It could not be the name of a person or a pony. She ruled out several other ponies there, like Derby. She wouldn't have it done doing them like this, because she was only dating Doctor Who's, so he was also after this. And if they would not have necessarily be like the title of a pony, like a doctor, they would have said Dr. Doctor or something. But after ruling out a few other ponies there with the name starts with a D, some could have been small children, like from Apple Bloom, Sweeter Bells, some other friends, but that was also ruled out. But then, the only other options he had left was actually Discord. But she wonders, why would he left her some gifts when he had Fluttershy? So Roseluck decided to go to Fluttershy's cottage to ask her about this. When she came there, she saw Fluttershy take care of some animal friends, and she asked her right away, Fluttershy, why are your boyfriend leaving me gifts? And Fluttershy just looked at her friend and said, boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend. But I thought you two in Discord were together. Discord? No, he's my friend. Why has everybody believed that we are dating? Well, you spend a lot of time together. We had tea party. Well, friends can do that as well. I had tea party with Twilight, Rarity, and even Applejack. But why would Discord leave me gifts? I have no idea. Unless what? She asked. And Fluttershy started thinking, and remembers the time when Discord asked her about would I give some pony as a gift to just cheering up when a pony has a flu? And then click. Roseluck had recently had the flu, and she had been given gifts even before or even after. I think why he had given you gifts. And Fluttershy then explained to her. So you think he just continued to give me gifts to make me feel better? Well, if you think about it, you had always been single for at least as long as I can remember, ever since I moved here. And it wouldn't surprise me if he had some sort of feelings for you. After all, you're quite beautiful as you are. You're even talented in flowers and other skills. And of course, Roseluck thought about it. I didn't know. But then Fluttershy did something. She used a sort of bell and rang it. And then suddenly Discord appeared middle of nowhere. Oh, Fluttershy, did you need me help? Yeah, can you explain to this Roseluck why you are giving gifts to her? What? And he turns his head and seeing her next to him. As before he could say something, he just vanished. What just happened? And Fluttershy was still astonished as well. I don't know. He has never done that before. So the next couple of days afterwards, Roseluck was still very puzzled why this happened. But she actually then admits she had fallen in love with Discord as well. At first she didn't want to believe it, but after how much gifts he had given her, like flowers, some sweets, or at least some music, he actually had recorded a music for her, and it was actually one of the favorite music she had. And she had never experienced any pony to be such kind to her. Even her friends could be kind, but this was another level of kindness. So the next day when she was out in the park, she said, Discord, can you come here please? And she knows that he will hear her. At first, nothing. Please Discord, I know you're hearing me. I want to talk to you. And then he appeared. And he was nervous. Look, all the gifts you're giving me, I appreciate it. But I understand if you don't like, but Discord, please. I do like you. But to be honest, I never thought you had in love with me. I thought you were with Fluttershy, but she explained to me why. And Discord had no idea what to say. Yes, it's true. I'm in love with you. I have been for the past 3 years. 3 years? But why haven't you said anything? And Discord said, I thought maybe there was some sort of, I don't know, fling I had. Thought that since I thought you was very beautiful, you were a gorgeous mare, you was always kind to me, to others, and you always help others. So I thought maybe there's some sort of crush I had on you, but to the end I thought maybe these feelings would fade away and I would probably find somebody else. But the feelings just continued to growing and growing until I realized I was so deeply in love with you. And it wasn't until recently I decided to show you how much I really like you. And then he was not to expect what she did afterwards. She actually smiled at Discord and said she was willing to give him a chance to date him. And that surprised him. And of course, they actually decided to go out to a restaurant the same night or the same evening. And when he saw her the same evening, he was stunned. Seeing her with a blue ribbon in her mane and wearing a light blue dress, and to him it was like his heart melted. And of course, it was only fair for him to say that she looked beautiful, and even they both were nervous about their dinner together. But Discord, he actually was giving it a try. And even after the date, he actually admitted that he had a great time with her. And he was expecting that she would say the same thing, but they probably were used to staying as friends. But she did something that he didn't expect. She kissed him on the cheek and said, maybe we can go out some more time. Another time. Yeah, that would be great. Maybe on, I don't know, Friday, to the movies maybe? And she just nodded and said, that would be great. And so for the next couple of weeks afterwards, Discord, even Roseluck was still together, even though they didn't expect the relationship would last that long. Even though some of their friends in town or other points had their suspiciously wrong when that Discord was dating Fluttershy. But turns out it wasn't wrong. But otherwise, how did spy Discord friends expect or even spy react to this relationship with Roseluck? And they were just supportive. But then, after they had been together for only 2 years, Discord had a small argument with Roseluck. They were just so smaller, one like if she would move in with him or he would move in with her. Discord arguments that would be better that she could stay with him, and that she could still have her business in Ponyville, and that she can goes back and forward as she wants. But then Roseluck said she always wanted to stay in her home in Ponyville, that she could still visit Discord in his dimension from time to time, She was very comfortable in living in Ponyville, but Discord said you should give it a try. I have been living in Ponyville with Fluttershy or some of my friends from time to time, and I like it. You should at least stay for a while, maybe let's say for a week or so, just to see how this works for you. And of course, she didn't first want to accept it, but she did. And of course, it did. Turns out she actually enjoyed living in his dimension. Even at first was a little bit chaotic. It was unusual what she was referred to, but Discord made something special for her. He made a big garden just for her, like with flowers she likes, and even some exotic flowers from Saudi Arabia, Mauritania, and she really loved the gift. But in fact, he thought maybe she was just liking it so that she could stay a bit longer, but he said to her, if you're feeling not home here, I understand if you don't want to live here as permanent, that you would prefer living in Ponyville. I understand that part. Don't believe me that. But she didn't say much. Except, what are you talking about? Of course I'm staying here with you for permanently. After all, I love you, Discord. But I thought you didn't want to stay here. But she did. And it turns out something was going to happen. Because one day, Discord had been thinking about something big. And he means big. Really, really big. He had asked Roseluck to marry him. And that surprised her. But she said not either yes or no. They had only been together for only 3 years. And she said that she wanted to wait a bit longer, which Discord accepted. Even if Discord wanted to be with Roseluck, but he had to accept that she wanted to not be married with him for at least for now. And everything seems to be going well between them. And even after they had been together for about 4 years, Discord had planned something special. He had actually asked Celestia for some bits, some money, since he had no work, and he explained to her what he had planned. And Celestia didn't doubt a moment. She didn't hesitate to give him the money that he needed. He actually bought 2 tickets for a cruise, just for him and Roseluck, to celebrate the 4 years anniversary. And when he told her about this idea, she didn't hesitate to go with him, because she had been a lot of work for the past few weeks, and she has been so stressed for work, especially during spring and summer when there's a lot of sales. So she had decided it was time for a break, perhaps some sort of vacation, even for a week. She had asked some of her friends if they can take turn for her at the market to sell the flowers. Sweetie Drops and Lyra and of course Fluttershy had offered their help, and they did a great job. So for the next week, Discord and Roseluck had these great days on their cruise, leaving from Manhattan to Saudi Arabia and back. But during this cruise, they were having romantic dinners on the deck, even watching sunset together, watching stars, and even then, Discord made some changes. He even made some falling stars appear in the sky, but he didn't tell her about it. And she wished for something. Her wish was to be together with Discord forever. But then Discord, on the last day before they returned back to Manhattan, something that he didn't expect to ask her, but he had to do it. He asked her if she could stay with him forever, like to turn into immortal, would she do it? At first she didn't answer. She looked at him with this bit curious look, but she thought and she said, "If I could stay with you and be immortal, I would do it. I would be immortal just to be with you, Discord, because you have been so kind, so generous to me, and I would say yes to that. And I'll even say yes to your first question so that you asked me last year." And Discord wonders, what question? But then he realized there was a question if she wanted to marry him. "Are you saying yes to your proposal?" "Yes. Yes, I want to marry you, Discord." And when they came home, they told every other friends the news. None of them could expect that. Didn't. They thought maybe we had to wait another 2 years or maybe 3 years before Discord and Roseluck to be married. But this surprised all their friends. There was much luck and so much happiness to that day, and they decided to have the wedding in Canterlot within a month. So all the preparations for the wedding was taken all ahead, like what the kind of dress that she will wear, what design will she wear on it, and how the suit for Discord will look like, and who will be the best man, the ring bearer, the bridesmaid, and sort of things like food. All things had to be fixed. Spike had to be asked to Discord to be his best man and Big Mac to be the ring bearer, but for bridesmaid, surprisingly, she had actually picked Fluttershy to be her bridesmaid. But they even wonders if Twilight could perform the wedding in Canterlot, which Twilight had admitted that she wanted to do. So only for about a couple of days before the wedding, everything had to be perfect. All the food had been chosen for only a couple of weeks before, and what kind of things that the party was going to be part of. And on the day of the wedding, Roseluck was so overjoyed about this big day, but Discord otherwise, he felt cold feet. He literally had cold feet. His feet were so cold, and but Big Mac and Spike said, "Discord, you should marry her. You asked her to marry you, and you love her, don't you?" "Yes, I do." But then Big Mac said, "Discord, if I didn't had asked Sugarbell to marry me, do you think I would have been so much happier with her? And even now, we have our perfect family together. I have a daughter with her, and we're expecting our second soon. How do you feel if I didn't have asked her to marry me?" Uh, Probably lonely. If she had said no and left you. Yep, exactly. But I felt so happy that I married Sugarbell. And you know how that you want to be the same thing with Roseluck. Because for the past few days I had seen her with Fluttershy, Twilight, and her friends. She had been so happy. She was glowing of happiness. It would only break her heart if you leave her at the altar. So don't break her heart. Not only saying that I will do anything, but just listen to your heart. He's right, Discord. Listen to your heart. What are you saying? And he listened. It said, "Marry Roseluck. Be happy. She makes you happy. You haven't been this happy for a millennia." And Discord. Then he realized, I, I, I will marry her because she makes me so happy. That spirit is scored, said Spike, and the wedding was taking place. All of the guests were so excited. Even the party itself was very off the charts. Pinky had made the party so well. Even some of her friends had helped for some things, but Pinky, she made a great opportunity for all the party. All the guests could see how much Roseluck would spend time with Discord after the wedding, and even when it was time for them to go on their honeymoon, Discord said to his friends, "Thank you. Thank you for all of this." And Fluttershy, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have admit my feelings for Roseluck and never had this most amazing day with a pony that I love. So thank you. And Fluttershy just smiled at him, and both of them actually went to Crystal Empire for a whole week. And when they came back home, everything seems just went perfectly. Roseluck was working at her stand in town, and Discord otherwise, he actually started working as a teacher at the school. Twilight had offered him a chance to teach about unusual magic, like chaos, and even run along with some teacher that became from a changeling. He had actually been offered a teaching class with a changeling about something unusual magic, and he accepted it right away. And everything seems to be working well between them. Discord and Roseluck, they really wanted to be married. They even had entered a new chapter in their lives together. But there was something else they wished for, and that was to have their own family. But so one day, Roseluck told Discord something which he didn't expect her to tell him. That she was pregnant, and that they weren't going to be parents in Discord. He was so overjoyed. He literally flew up in the sky and exploded like a fireworks of happiness. And when the old friends was told, they were equally as happy as they were. And they were to find out they were going to have a daughter. But they both wondered, will she be half Draconicus or half pony? But she was actually half pony, half Draconicus, which they believed. But there was just one thing that Roseluck was curious and mostly terrified about. What if their daughter showed early signs of chaos magic? How would they be able to handle that? But Discord easily confirmed that he will train her as soon as the powers start to show up. And that comforted her as much as she could. And then the day came where the daughter was born. And they even named the daughter Rosie Chaos. She was actually like what they didn't expect it. She was very calm as a filly, but she still showed some chaos powers when she was only 4 years old. But luckily, she had her father there to help her to control the powers. At first, it was not as what they expect to. The house would turn into cheese at one point, and another time when they had to try to put down the house when she teleported up in the sky, and when she made the entire kitchen into gold, which her mother were a little bit worried about. But for the most part, her life was very excited. She loved to be part of the family. She even loved to be part of her godmother Fluttershy, and even practice magic with her aunt Twilight. But when she was old enough, she actually entered the School of Friendship under the teaching of Fluttershy as her godmother. And the most of all, She actually loved flowers when she was growing up. She helped her mother at the stand or even at the family garden in this course they mentioned. And she even wanted to be a florist like her mother. And the parents, she actually, they weren't much against this entire idea, but they actually encouraged her to follow her dream. And one day, when she was 21, she actually opened her own florist shop in town, and it worked well for her. Her store was a success. She even sold flowers that was from Equestria and even some exotic flowers like from Saudi Arabia, even Meritonia. Those flowers were so popular in town and even sometimes even beyond that. And one day, at some point, she actually fell in love with the stallion from from town. And they actually got married after only 4 years been dating. At first, this court thought maybe he was not the right stallion for his own daughter, but after he gets some time to spend some time to know him, he agreed. And after only 2 years of marriage, Rosie Chaos had a daughter, and only 4 years later, she had a son. Both Discord and Roseluck could not have been more happier for having found each other and even had admitted their feelings. If Discord hasn't told Roseluck about his feelings, she probably would have found her true love with Discord and even had a lot of amazing family with him. Before then, she felt empty, lonely, but now she feels happy. And even Discord, he felt the same thing. And they even were so more happier to have been married, and that Roseluck is now immortal like him. But most of all, they haven't been more happier to have a daughter and 2 grandchildren. And that's how Discord, Roseluck found a true love, got a family. The end.